Hello and welcome to Impact Africa, our online talk show where we get to have conversations with diverse people and organizations who are impacting lives positively. Yes, this is me, Kemi Akeode Adebayo, aka Mama K. And in today's program, I've got a young, selfless, humble, visionary, pace-setter, leader, my brother from another mother. We used to live life together, although he's a big man now. Dr. Babatunde Omotowa, an international oil and gas executive based in UK, Europe, and Nigeria. I bet it shuttles between all those three countries. My dear brother, welcome. How are you today?
Fine, thank you, Mama K. Thank you for having me on your program.
Thank you for coming. So let's start first with your name. Babatunde, I know it seems to be a popular name. Tell us a little bit about what it means and where you come from in Nigeria and life growing up.
Thank you very much. Babatunde, it's a native Yoruba name. Yoruba is the language spoken by people from the western part of Nigeria and also other parts of West Africa, even up to Brazil. In Babatunde itself means that a man, a father has come back, really. It's supposed to be like a reincarnation, which usually is given to a child born after the passing away of some male figure in the family. In my own case, it was my maternal grandfather that I was born after. So that's why I'm called Babatunde. It's a landmark and a way of remembering when a child was born in the olden days.
And do you have his characteristics? Has anybody told you?
I don't know.
You don't know. Okay, you haven't asked that deep.
All I know is that I was also very close to my mother, and I can imagine part of that may have been the result of that as well.
So she probably called you Babami or which is father.
Definitely, so, we had such a bond.
Right. So you use Babs for short, which is a name that you've used for a long time. So tell us where you're from exactly in Nigeria then.
So I'm actually from a village called Okorogbede. It's in current Kogi State. It's in the middle belt of Nigeria, not too far from the confluence city of Nigeria, where River Niger and Benue meet in Lokoja. So that's where I come from. But there's a Yoruba-speaking part of that region that I come from.
So I'm sure you have a different kind of dialect, even though it's Yoruba-speaking. It's probably not, it's a different kind of Yoruba, like the Egbas have, the Jebus. What would be your one from Kogi?
So we're called the Okun people. Okay.
Ah, Okun, okay. Right, so you're an Okun people. How do you greet again?
Well, it depends on who you are greeting. It could be anything from Ekwe, Ekun, so it depends on who you are greeting.
Okay. So Ekun is for somebody senior or younger?
Ekun is for somebody. So if you use E, it means the person is senior. If you use O, it means the person is junior. And then depends on what you want to say. Ekason, so those sort of things.
All right. So tell us life growing up and your educational background in Nigeria as well. I'm assuming you did school in Nigeria? Indeed.
So I grew up initially in the middle belt of Nigeria. So I was born in Okene, which is also in that axis of Kogi State. I did a lot of my education in that sort of middle belt of Nigeria. So started primary school in Okene, then went to Ilorin, where I did my secondary school, Federal Government College, Ilorin. And then from there, I went to the university in Ilorin as well, where I had a first degree in industrial chemistry and a master's degree in business admin. So most of my schooling at the initial stage, I would say, was in that region. But of course, education for me is a continuous learning. So subsequently, I had another master's degree from University of Leicester in the UK, and I'm currently still a student, still studying with a doctorate degree here in the Edinburgh College of Business as well.
All right. Is that on a doctorate in business again?
So it's a doctorate specializing now in ESG, environment,
Okay.
social and governance, which of course is quite topical in the world and will define, I think, a lot of things to come in the future, especially around sustainability, good social and good governance in the world.
Okay. So life growing up in Ilorin, and then going to other places around the world. But before we go to your exposure, overseas, how was life growing up for you?
Well, I was born, I think, in the 60s. I was born during a time there was a civil war in Nigeria. So, as you can imagine, the war going on in Ukraine, just depresses me. And every time I see conflict in Africa, or even in my country, Nigeria, where we suffer from Boko Haram and a lot of security issues, these are quite unsettling for me. But growing up, my parents were really farmers and in education. So I spent a lot of my grown-up years either in the school, reading on the farm or in the church. And a lot of, I would say, my core values were built around that. So, for example, in the farm, I used to love going to the farm. It was a good time to bond with my brothers. But also I loved to have roasted yam at that time with palm oil, which was one of my favorite. And even till today, anything made out of yam is a big favorite. But you also learn quite a lot. So, in that time, learned a lot around perseverance, around hard work, around excellence from the farm. I learned a lot about honesty and integrity from the church. And I learned a lot from my parents, watching what they do. And I will always say, parents, we are lodestar for children, and what we do and how we bring them up will define them well into the future, because a lot of those values I still carry on today and define me even throughout my work life. So really, parents must take that accountability serious, because I think it's what makes society to either thrive or not.
Correct. So what position were you in your family? Were you the first, last, middle child?
I'm a middle child.
Okay.
I have two elder brothers, and I have a junior brother and a junior sister. So I'm the third in 5 children.
Awesome. So growing up in the farm, who was the farmer, your dad or your mom? I don't want to assume it's dad. I don't want to assume it's that, because we do have female farmers. So your mom was into education, and now I'm sure now, especially with what you've said with the core values and Nigeria as a country, hopefully we're going back to farming, where we're hoping to feed ourselves, because we should be feeding ourselves. There shouldn't be people hungry, in terms of food. So let's now go on to your career in the oil and gas. How did you get into it? What, were you always interested because you did industrial chemistry? So was that a line that you thought you would find yourself, or things changed along the way?
Actually, being the son of a teacher as well, I actually started off as a teacher myself. So
okay. I didn't know that.
My first job was teaching, and I enjoyed the job. It's been the most incredible job I've ever done. I enjoy it a lot. I still get a lot of students that I taught there nearly 40 years ago now, who still, get in touch with me either on social media, and it's incredible, Mama K. One of them, a lady, got in touch with me a few months back and said to me that while I was a teacher, she hated mathematics. And but the way I taught them, the way I related with them at that time, she started to like mathematics, and she went on to make an A in mathematics. And today she's a systems analyst with one of the big IT companies. And she said because of the impact I had on her, even up till today, her password is actually my name, which I thought was incredible.
That is an incredible testimony, and I'm sure it gives you joy hearing such a story, after over 40 years, like you say, and you were just doing your job.
Yeah.
So,
It,
so I'm sure, like you said, being a child of an educator, and then you know, being teaching as well. So you were teaching, and how long did you do that for? Did you say again? And when did you move to oil and gas?
I taught for 2 years, and by
Okay.
the third year, while I was teaching as well, was when I was also doing my master's degree program as a part-time. So as soon as I finished my part-time, teaching at that time was not as well-paying in Nigeria. And
It
so,
still not is, trust me. Although some private schools who are on different sides of the air, but still, I mean, there's more we could still do in terms of
definitely,
paying our teachers. Yes.
definitely.
Okay.
And as a result, you know, I wanted opportunities to you know, further my you know, life. And I was an advertisement in the newspaper. I was there in Ilorin, read the advert, and applied.
Okay.
Just posted. In those days, we had post office, so I posted it in the post office. And luckily, I was called for tests and interviews. And luckily, you know, after about a year of processing, she recruited me. I started first in Warri, which is in the western parts of Nigeria. In the
Which year
Delta.
was this?
So this was in 1993.
Okay.
And I started in the storeroom as a worker in the storeroom at that time. One of the lowest places you could start in Shell, but one of the places you could learn the most about any company. Anytime you're working in a very low level in an organization, you see the whole organization. And so I learned quite a lot.
You had your degree at this time? You had your industrial chemistry degree at this time?
Yeah, I actually even had my master's degree at this
Oh
time.
my word. Oh yeah, you said you were doing your master, but still you started in the storeroom.
Yeah.
Was that intentional, or was that the job that was available at that time?
So we were actually recruited as what they call graduate trainees.
Okay.
And as graduate trainees, they then send you to various parts of the organization for you to learn. And where they posted me to was in the warehouse. But it was incredible. I really learned a lot. I found out a lot. It was neglected part of the organization, despite the fact that it had several hundreds of millions of material stored there. It was really left as a junkyard. So I really put myself into the work and make sure that we totally reorganized, rearranged, and made the place a place where very many people wanted to visit. You know, by the time we finished, the managing directors of the company were bringing their friends from other companies to come and see, you know, how a warehouse could be. And, you know,
changes, you know, you have made under, I'm sure, a very, very short time.
Indeed, and that I think became for me the way in which I worked everywhere I worked in Shell, which is whatever role that you are given, find out about the role, learn about it, find out what best practices are across the world, and work hard to make sure that you change that place to become where everybody wants to come and work. And so, you know, from that warehouse, I started to get other roles in contracts and procurement, in planning. And I, you know, was the same way. I turned around most of those places where I worked, new ideas that I learned from other places, and also working with others just to make sure that the values or the requirements of those roles, we were fulfilling it. And that led to a situation where in 2000, I was sent on an international assignment to the UK, which was where I met Mama K and in Aberdeen. And, you know, it was an incredible experience as well, you know, coming into the UK, a much more advanced place than Nigeria. Was a huge opportunity for me to learn a lot of things that I was going to take back to Nigeria, but it was also a good opportunity for me also to make a difference there by working hard, engaging with others, making changes as well. Really, my assignment, which was initially supposed to be 4 years, got extended to 8 years as well. And After that, I went back to Nigeria again in different roles, in commercial roles, in operational roles, business improvement roles. And by the time I got back to Nigeria, I got into senior roles, general manager, director, vice president across Africa, really with the same attitude of really any role that I had. I found out what was the best practice in the world, and I made sure that I brought that best practice into those roles to really turn it around. And that, I think, coupled with a number of those values I mentioned to you, I had right from my youth of hard work, integrity, perseverance. All those enabled my bosses at that time to continue to have the confidence to give me higher and higher assignments. And then I was appointed in 2011 to the managing director of Nigeria LNG, which was the biggest plant in Sub-Sahara Africa. For 5 years that I was there, we were making an average of about $10 billion revenue.
Wow.
And, really a great time to work with people, work with communities, and really start to expand just beyond myself, beyond the organization, but to be able to impact some of our communities. So, some of the things I did with the Bonny community included connecting the island to the mainland by supporting the government, a project that had been outstanding for 40 years. I was able to get the board to allocate about 60 billion naira. At that time, it was about $300 million to support the government to connect that road. And I'm pleased that today that road is nearly completed to turn the island now into one that is connected to the mainland, but also working with the community to develop what I call the 25-year plan, how we will turn that community from being a really rural community, despite that it had a major oil companies there, how we could turn it into another Dubai 25 years. So we developed a master plan that had everything, the tourist area, the agriculture area, the high-rise buildings. And following that development of the master plan, we were able to also allocate about 75 billion, which is about $375 million to that development. I also got Shell to support with another 600 million naira per year, another, nearly $4 million every year for 25 years. So really a good plan, good financial contribution. And, there's a story around, also how the community themselves didn't respond as well because they started to fight amongst themselves and took themselves to court, unfortunately. Anyway, I left that job and then went to become the global vice president for Shell in the head office in Poland, and did that for 4 years. The role was covering 40 countries. What that meant was that I was traveling quite a lot. I was not seeing my family as much. By the time Shell then started to tell me about my next role, which will cover about 100 countries, I thought I needed to prioritize my family more than my career. And so I took an early retirement in 2019, and which is where I'm now in the Edinburgh with the family, spending more time with my children, and also doing some other things that I think are beyond just about myself.
Wow. I was just right in there. I didn't even know when to stop. But you know what? We'll be right back. Dr. Babs Omotowa, you are such an enigma, a selfless leader from, Kogi State, with your family, your parents, farmer, dad, mom, educator, studying industrial chemistry, then going on to do your master's at Ilorin as well, and then working with Shell, starting from the storeroom and becoming, a vice chairman, MD. Wow, so much titles, and in control of a lot of countries and a lot of money. And not just only that, impacting, as you go into the communities and making sure the core values, you got while growing up, integrity, honesty, perseverance has been, what has made you up till now, I believe. And now let me go on to the challenges, because before we went on the break there, you spoke about the fact that, yes, you had an early retirement so that you can, be there more for your family who probably paid the price for this, you inputting and making a change, wherever you've been. What has been some of the challenges, for you? Because I'm sure that's one of it, and some of the risks you've taken over the years. And how have you managed them?
Indeed. So, I think, as you rightly said, Mama K, the family challenges was, for me, the most challenging, because, as you can imagine, it's emotional. It's the core of us as human beings, our family. And being away from my children, especially in their grown-up years, was quite challenging, because what you don't want is that your children grow up and they don't know you very well. And when you then grow up, you really start to struggle to make a connection with them. And so for me, I needed to prioritize that at some point, and I did that. But of course, there were other challenges, even at work as well, because you have to take risks in a number of things, and one of them was, I think, while I was the vice president for Shell in Sub-Sahara Africa, I was looking after many areas, one of which was logistics. We had our helicopter operations was one of them. We take helicopters to our locations, and this could be offshore or onshore. For about 40, 50 years till then, these services were provided by an international foreign player. And of course, it became a monopoly. They became quite, very, they were just take it or leave it type things that they told us then. So, but when I got to the role, I told, we should have local players who should be able to also provide this support. So we started working with my team, and we identified some local players. We told them what our standards were, and gave them a roadmap to what they needed to do to meet that. Two of them worked very, very hard. Really partnered with others, learned quite a lot, and at some point they became credible. We evaluated them along with our head office in Europe, and they were qualified to participate in the tender. We did that tender, and they came out the most commercially competitive, because of course the foreign players were already very monopolistic. So at this point, they was then prepared to award the contract to a local company for the first time in 50 years, and helicopter is a safety safety critical area. And so my boss, an expatriate, called me to his office just before I made that award and said, "Are you really sure about what you're doing?" And I said, "Well, we have evaluated them. They are good. We brought our head office to evaluate them. They passed them, so they are commercially the best. So we go ahead." And he said, "Well, if there's any accident, you will, that will be the end of your career. I'm sure you know that." And I said, yeah, I'm sure, but we have done due diligence. So you need to be able to take a risk and prepare to take the risk. He says, really think it through. So I said, well, the only thing I will add is that apart from awarding to them, I will want Shell to also loan them $85 million. And he thought, are you crazy? Why would we loan them money? But I said, they have to they should buy new aircraft. They are trying to hire aircraft. I think that's the risk that I can see.
And this is something not normally done, because you just give them the but you are now asking for a loan for them to be able to. Okay.
And no such loan had ever been granted to a local company. It's unheard of. But I said, we needed to do that. And so I pursued that with the head office in Holland, and I succeeded in getting that. And so we loaned this company, we awarded the contract, we paid the company the $85 million. And, this was now then hopefully they perform. But I was confident that we had done enough work. And, the company went on to perform well. They've done about 12 years now, even way long after I left.
And did they return the loan? Did they return the loan?
They repaid the loan. Okay. All of that was repaid. It was an interest-free loan, so that was also part of it. So they repaid all of it.
Wow.
And they grew to become even not just a supplier of helicopters to Shell, but to other international oil companies, and even started to supply helicopters outside Nigeria. And today they have a maintenance capacity for the whole of West Africa. So they've really grown, and I'm happy we were able to grow a local company in a very challenging area. But indeed, it was a risk that we had to take at that time. But I think when you take calculated risk and you have evaluated, you have done due diligence, then you need to, if you see any area of risk, then you need to see how you manage it, which was what I did with the $85 million loan. But you need to be courageous. Otherwise, if you are not courageous, then you make no difference. And if you cannot make a difference, then, you won't make an impact on the long run. So I would say that was one of the challenge risks that I faced. And there are a few others that,
I'm sure there would have been many. You know what? We'll stop for a quick break and be right back. We'll be right back. Wow, Dr. Babs Omotowa, what a legend. I need to call you a legend because that's definitely, what you are. And I know you're an author, as well. So let's talk now about some of the life lessons, because you're a leader that has done so much and is still doing so much, and we could really benefit from you. So in terms of the book that you've written, which is called From Storeroom to Boardroom, I'm sure, that book already is becoming an award-winning book. And at the same time, we have life lessons, that we've basically learned, over the years that you want to share with us. So do you want to share with us?
No, indeed. Thank you very much, Mamaki. And indeed, the book that you mentioned, From Storeroom to the Boardroom, is really a book about my life lessons, really. And it tells a lot about my stories, various things that happened through my life, through my career, and it draws out the lessons that I picked up. And it was written mainly to provide insight for both young people, leaders at various levels, about things that they should learn from, some of my failures as well as successes, and hopefully as they learn from that, they will be able to navigate life a lot better, and I hope they will be able to even reach higher heights than I did using some of those lessons. And I wrote it also because I thought in Africa, we don't have many business leaders writing books. And if you only read books written by what I'll call people from developed countries, you may not reflect well on some of the challenges that developing countries create. So that, I think, was it. But in terms of your question on life lessons, there are very many, but I'll share just probably two. And one of it, I think I've touched on a lot, which is, you should have core values of what you stand for, because life will throw you a lot of things in your journey of life. And if you do not have how you calibrate what your responses are in life, in terms of what it throws to you, you may find yourself in some very awful places in a number of times. In my case, things like honesty, courage, perseverance were some of my core values. And what you also find with having core values is that over time, you become known by those core values. And if there's one thing that I learned through my career, is that many times in your career, you will not be in the room when decisions are being taken that will have to do with you, one of the main things that will speak for you when you are not there is what your core values are, what you are known for. And if you are known for the right things, they will speak for you even when you are not in the room. And it could be the reason why a lot of things will come your way. So I would say to you, a lot of the senior roles I was given, a lot of the things that I accomplished, a lot of it came from, just what I was known for and some of my core values. An example, while I was in the UK, there was a new leader in Shell in Africa, and when she got to the role, she's an American. She was looking to fill a very senior role, very sensitive commercial role with the Nigerian. It had been filled a lot by expatriates. And so she went around Shell asking that she's just looking for a Nigerian that is very hardworking, has integrity, and could be trusted to deliver. And everywhere she went, she said my name came up, and that was how she pulled me out of Europe and brought me into Nigeria. I've never met her before. And she gave me a very senior role to fulfill. So I will say, your core values, what you stand for, is something that you should build, cultivate, and be known for it. The second thing I will share really is that there is no impossibility in life, and I put impossibility in quotes, but there is no impossibility in life except those things that you yourself make impossibility. You can reach great heights irrespective of where you start in life. In my own case, in Shell, I started from the storeroom, and I got to become, in the boardroom. And you can break ceilings once you put your mind to it, once you put the necessary work in it, and you are not distracted. I think a good example is Elon Musk, who left South Africa to Canada with less than $3,000. And today is one of the richest men in the world. He's sent space vehicles to space, and he's pioneered Tesla. I mean, he's just done great things. And if you imagine he left from South Africa with less than $3,000, I think that tells you that you can achieve a lot irrespective of where you start from. So those would be two lessons I will say, but a lot more if you are able to read the book. I think you will get quite a lot from those lessons.
Oh, thank you so much, Dr. Burks. And I'm sure we will share details of where people could get the book from. And I can't wait. But I need a signed copy. So my own has to be a signed copy, not just a normal one. It has to be special. So no, I can't wait. And thank you for sharing those two, powerful key points in terms of life lessons, which you've shared along the way as well. So let me now come back to the community and Africa and Nigeria and South Africa, as well, where, we work from mainly. We have social issues, all around us, in terms from poverty, unemployment, domestic abuse, and a lot of things. For you personally, what social issue or issues speak to you? And even if you're not doing anything about it, but you're passionate about it and you would like, something to be done, and maybe you have solutions, as well for it. So please do share.
Thank you very much. Clearly for me, youth and community development are things that I'm very passionate about. I will talk a bit about the youth development. I think our young population in Africa are living, in very challenging times. I think, they have been left with a lot of challenges when you think about, one, the growth of population that has, is leading to the world becoming over 9 billion people by 2050. And yet, despite this growth in population, it's a dwindling opportunities in terms of when you think of employment, because with the fourth industrial revolution, automation, artificial intelligence is all, reducing the kind of jobs that people used to do. And the youths have been, they experience the challenges of leadership, I will say, where in Africa, I think in many countries, they cannot see they have no confidence in the leadership that they are exposed to. I think if you go back in history in Africa, in the 60s, 70s, at least the leadership then were pushing for an agenda of independence. They were pushing for self-determination, and they rallied their countries into that. Unfortunately, in the last decades, I think leadership in Africa has not, in most cases, really provided inspiration for our youth. And so when you look forward as well, you will see a situation where by 2030, nearly 50% of youths in Africa will be unemployed. If you look at it even today, in Nigeria and South Africa, I think the population is around 60% of youths are either unemployed or underemployed. And when you think of Africa with the over 1.2 billion people we are, you are talking of hundreds of millions of people that will be challenged in terms of inequality as we go forward. And this is quite challenging for the continent itself, because you cannot have that army of people not being gainfully employed. Lost opportunities. I think, in China, population is a strength. Population is a factor for their industrial capabilities. Yet in Africa, our population hasn't been of that use. So this is a big challenge that, I think it needs all hands on deck. The government, the corporate organizations, individuals. We need to do a couple of things. In my view, at the very least, we need to help the young people to equip them with the right skills and the right mindset. Right skills in terms of, not just getting paper degrees, but having skills that are, either vocational skills, technological skills, digitalization skills, skills that they will be able to apply and use going forward. They also need to be equipped with what I call entrepreneurial skills. There will be less jobs in the future, and people have to create more jobs on their own. And we need to equip them with the thinking, with the ability to raise finances, and how they were able to really, utilize the opportunities that are there for them. We also, need to help the mindset, because the mindset, I think, is a key thing. If you have a mindset of dependence on your government, and you have a mindset that is very local, then you may miss out on the opportunities, because now the world is global. It's a global village. You can be in Nigeria, in Pretoria, in Zambia, you can be anywhere, and the world is at your fingertip. And if you think about some of our entertainment industry, the music industry, the acting industry, they are reaching out to everywhere in the world, and they are making huge money. People now can sit in villages and connect to customers all over the world through the internet. And so, the youths will not be limited by their geographical location, and that sort of mindset change we need to help with. So there's quite a lot that I think we need to do. Our university education have to be different. It has to be less about theoretical regurgitation, memorization. Those will not be useful in the future, because people can Google anything now, so you don't have to cram it in those days as we used to do. It's about application, it's about critical thinking, it's about communication. Those critical skills, we need to do that and provide that. And the big challenge would then be, how do we scale this up so that the hundreds of millions, if not billions, of young people in Africa will have access to this. And this, I think, is a work that we all must continue to do, and in various levels, government, organizations, and individuals, we really need to continue to do that. And it's an area that I have remained passionate about, being a teacher myself, as I said, from my early days, and passionate about people development. This is an area that I remain passionate about, and I'm working at. But we need a lot of work in this area to be able to help our youth, help the continent, because they have a much better chance to transform the continent. The failures of this current generation of leaders in Africa, we must turn it around so that the continent will not continue to be left behind.
Wow. There was so much in there for me, and I hope this has blessed, a lot of our viewers, especially young people who are watching. And, what you're saying is spot on. Youth and community development. And I like the fact what you said about university education, not even up, coming to even university. I'm even thinking secondary or even primary. All that needs to be changed. The curriculum needs to be changed completely to, for them, to understand, what is happening. Today, I saw a young boy, I just need to share this. I saw a young boy on the street in a township, that we went to do a recording. And I said, oh, why are you now in school? And it was on the roller skate. It was like, because they don't teach us anything. And I've heard that so many times, where some young people, and he's only 14, but I had to encourage him to say, well, no, still go to school, but we need to get our educators to start changing the curriculum to be applicable, entrepreneurship, vocational, all what you're talking about there. It's so, so, so important. Thank you so much, Dr. Babs, for your time, because I know you're a very, very busy person, but we are going to be back because I really want to be back to go through your book. And I'm hoping there'll be more of such that, there'll be part 2, part 3 of the book. So that, like you said, it's your journey. And this is what for us, we try to do on Impact Africa. And I believe, we only learn from what others have done. I'm sure, you have a lot of people that you mentor. Am I right?
That's correct.
Okay. So do you do it formally or informally?
It's a combination. I have a number of young people I mentor formally that I do, but I see my life daily as about mentoring. That's the most thing I think adults need to continue to do, to mentor young. Every opportunity you find, you meet young people, as you were describing, the young kid you met on the road. That was a good mentoring opportunity, and I'm sure you did that. And we as adults, I think, need to do a lot more of that. Every opportunity, every interaction we find is an opportunity to mentor. So I do have formal ones, but I also do that as an ongoing basis. And frankly, I find the most fulfillment in doing that.
I agree. And why I'm asking is because part of why when we do this program as well is if we find people, because mentorship and people always, people run away from it thinking, no, it's too much work, and so on. However, it depends on the mentee and the mentor. It could be a 1 week thing, one-off thing, twice a meeting thing, or, so I'm trying to ask publicly that if we do find, young ones that we feel might benefit, from your story and your life story, would you mind if we approach you to mentor in whatever capacity you can do that? Could we ask for that?
I think the answer is yes. I will always be pleased to do that in whatever form, as you rightly said, because there are different forms. And what I always say about mentoring is that it must have a clear purpose. It must have, what the best way of that mentoring relationship will work. And, there must be good chemistry between the mentor and the mentee. The mentee must feel that he or she will gain from that mentorship. And, I also say that, don't forget that the mentors also gain. The mentors learn, especially, if you're at my age now, you can learn a lot from young people as well. So I always learn from them.
Absolutely, 100%. I agree. I completely agree. And your children, and I'm sure family members already tap into, into you, and you are tapping into them as well, because there's so much, for us who are middle-aged now, aging gracefully to learn. You see me calling and come and help me with technical, something that before I'll be like, no, I can do this. So yeah, thank you. So in closing, I just want to ask you to just say, just words of advice or encouragement to anybody you want to speak to, be it the young people, be it the leaders, Nigerians, Europeans, anyone you really want to speak to. If you could just say a few words.
No, thank you, Mama K. I think maybe the only thing I will just add is, make sure you have a purpose in life that you are passionate about and that you're pursuing. Sometimes people, do things that they may not be, happy with. So some people get into roles, employment they're not happy with. You can't live your life just, doing things that you're not happy about. So happiness is a very important part of life as well. And make sure you spend time on what brings you joy, what brings you happiness, and make sure that your life is beyond yourself. I always say to people that if at the end of your life the only thing you've done is to acquire wealth for yourself, then you have been a failure. How you carve your name in the minds and the heart of others, and how you make a difference in the life of others is actually what makes a difference. And a life that is lived for oneself is a life that I think has not fulfilled its potential. A life that is lived, that makes a difference in the lives of others, that helps generations to continue to progress, I think is one. So make sure that you have a purpose, you enjoy life, but also make sure that you make a difference in the life of others, because that is where real fulfillment comes from.
Wow, Dr. Babs Omotowa, I salute you. I celebrate you. I honor you. I pray, I know you're a man of faith. I pray that God that has guided you to navigate, your life from back in the farm, on your father's farm to now, even though you're in retirement, will continue to guide you to empty yourself as well, to others who would learn and benefit, so that the legacy you have sown in the lives of so many will continue to pay off. You already shared, one of such legacy and how you've impacted such a life. And I'm sure there's so many more. The communities, you've worked with when you were with Shell, with NLNG, in Aberdeen, in Malaysia. I don't know. How many countries have you been to around the world now? How many countries?
Probably over 40 years.
Probably over 40. Wow. I celebrate you. And I pray, because we focus on Africa here, that we need to do more for Africa. So keep helping to put back, to make a difference, to help, within the various communities, young people, women, our men as well, so they're not left behind, in Africa. And you already, have all those contacts. So please help using those contacts. Like we spoke during the break as well about leadership, and that is what I believe is your calling, in life and your purpose. So I salute you. I don't have the money to give you or anything, but I really, really feel humbled, some of what you've shared, and even reading about you. And I've read about you and I've followed you. You might not know, but I've followed you to know, wow, this is someone that is giving of themselves, making a difference, even when no one is watching. So continue to do that, and your children will be blessed. Your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren, will continue to be blessed, because you have stepped up, you have stepped out to impact lives positively. So we will be back to follow up on you on that book especially, and more books. Well, I know you're busy, but we will try and get hold of you again. So thank you. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much, Mama. Really thank you for having me on your show, and I wish you all the best. Wish the family all the best as well.
Thank you. Well, guys, that's all we've got time for on Impact Africa for today, with a special selfless brother, international oil and gas consultant, and a worker who has so much experience in leadership in all areas that we've spoken about. You need to play this and rewind and play and rewind to just get hold of some of those nuggets, he shared earlier on, and to get the book. So the books are available where? On
You get them
Amazon?
on Amazon. Yep, they're on Amazon.
Okay.
Yeah.
And where else can people get them?
Well, then Waterstone as well online. And,
Okay. All right.
the Nigerian edition for those who are in Nigeria will be out in another month. So it will be in local bookstores as well in Nigeria. But you can get them now on Amazon, Waterstone bookstores online.
Like he said earlier, we want leaders like this who have walked the path, you know, writing about leadership, about their story, their failures, their challenges, what you can do, what you can do, not from a developed world perspective. So support our brother, buy the book if you haven't bought it yet, and I'm sure you will be blessed with it. I'm not getting commission or anything. I'm sure it will be worth more than what is being sold. So look out for it. We'll share the details of where to get it. So till next time, stay safe, stay blessed, love you all. Remember, God is love. Thank you.
Thank you.